Sean Sewell with Engearment.com podcast. In this episode, we're going to get to pick the brain of HANAH Nutrition Supplements founder Joel Einhorn. He's a very fascinating person and created HANAH after an accident in Prague in 2008. Learned a whole lot about Ayurvedic medicine and is doing his best to become an advocate for it and bring it to attention in the modern world. It's very cool stuff. I've been taking HANAH stuff and using it for about 6 months now, and I'm a big fan. And other big fans of it include Jimmy Chin, Mark Carter, Jeremy Jones, Travis Rice, Angel Collinson, Ian Walsh. The list goes on and on. I'll have links to all those superstar athletes in the show notes, as well as some other stuff that we cover in this episode. It's awesome. It's a great story. So get ready for this episode of the Engearment.com podcast. All right, everybody. All right. This is Sean Sewell with the Engearment.com podcast. Really excited to have a really cool guy here, Joel Einhorn, the founder of HANAH Nutrition Supplements. Welcome onto the podcast, Joel.
All right, Sean. Thanks for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. Can you give the audience a little bit of background of who you are, your background? I know you do Ironmans and you do golfing and snowboarding and a bunch of fun stuff. So please speak about who you are.
Yeah, quick little intro. So I'm 44 years old, born in 1975. South side of Chicago, sort of in the Kankakee Indian River area, so about 40 miles south, and grew up sort of on a big, not really a farm, but sort of in the middle of the forest. And I grew up, always just been very active outdoors, started with baseball and then sort of like slowly went into ice hockey and then got into golf and skateboarding pretty heavily. And then, I went to the University of Illinois. I played some golf there. And then I just kind of got really got over the whole American university frat sorority sort of vibe. And a very serendipitous sort of thing happened. And I was able to transfer my scholarship and go do a semester abroad. And so I chose Vienna, Austria, as I'd always wanted to get to the mountains. And, Chicago's a pretty flat area. And
yep.
I was like, all right, I can do a couple of different things there. And as soon as I got there, I just absolutely fell in love with it. And we went straight to the mountains. And actually the school went on strike. So we had like January and February of, I think it was 96. Spent the whole time in the mountains, traveling around Europe and just meeting great people, learning a new language and studying there. And I figured out a way to sort of extend that stay. And I ended up finishing my school out there and got a job right out of school. This was in like 97, 98. And that job sent me to Prague. Got to Prague there, late 90s, a lot of opportunities. Worked in corporate finance for a little bit, obviously still snowboarding and cycling and staying outside, and just sort of realized like there's no way that I'm ever gonna work in an office.
That's
and
so cool.
We did really well. Worked very hard, did really well in the 2 years I worked in that world, and sort of got out of that arena and just started investing into startups and starting my own things. Did a lot of work in film and television, and basically just decided, look, I'd like to work 20 hours a week, because I do love working on things I'm passionate about, growing and learning, and then spending the rest of the time going after different goals, like a goal being to spend 100 days in the mountains and do a triathlon this year. Just little simple things like that, kind of dangling the carrot to it's we always used to say it's like one of those things where it's it's that night when you're in the bar and you're having a couple of drinks and you have an option. All right, do we hang out here for the next 3 hours and get totally hammered, or hey, I gotta go because I gotta run at 7 o'clock in the morning. And it's just those little goals that you set, sort of those far off goals, they kind of dictate your lifestyle a little bit. And so I just kind of was always one of those people that sort of favored rather than staying out and doing what do they say? Nothing good ever happens after midnight.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
Yeah, I
For
mean,
sure.
I would definitely beg to differ on a couple of great evenings, but no, just always sort of just really dedicated to being outside and staying healthy and getting strong and doing fun things. And so just sort of got into the world of Ironman triathlon. That was always great. It sort of started as a way to just be stronger in the mountains. When I was living, I had a place in the west of Austria in the Arlberg, and I just got completely infatuated with snowboarding in the late 90s. And so I would spend every winter, most of the winters out there. And you go on these big hikes with a lot of guys out there, and you realize that, hey, if I was in better shape, I could do two of these a day rather than one. And so just
Yeah.
in the summertime started cross training into the biking, running, swimming, and that just kind of led to to Ironman. I was sort of doing that like semi-professionally, um, and yeah, that kind of led into, I had a pretty bad bike crash in 2008, and head injury, brain injury, and dislocated AC joint in the left shoulder with the collarbone sticking out of my back. So a compound dislocation with a brain injury was a pretty bad combo, because the doctors were sort of really focused on the shoulder and not really focused on the brain. Because yeah, if I would have gotten infected there, I probably would have died. So yeah, that's sort of like, I was in the hospital for a week, got out of the hospital, and couldn't close my eyes. So it's a big problem if you can't sleep, when all your body wants to do at that point is to eat and to rest. And when you can't rest, it was sort of like living in like a eternal hell. One day seems like it lasts for a month, and you don't know what life has in store for you. And I got to say that when you look at losing your health, it's just something I don't think a lot of people really look at. It's a lot of people are focused on, okay, dying or this and that, which really isn't a huge fear of mine. But I did realize in that moment that, living the rest of your life without your capabilities, little things like, being able to put your shoes on and your socks on, and, swimming or golfing or walking properly, that's a big thing to sort of grasp. And so I got a very, very large dose of that. And while I was in that state, I was doing, some meditations and, anything basically. I wasn't really heavily into, meditation or, yoga. I mean, I would do it, but I was just a part of, a bigger program. And just sort of did this meditation to sort of, ask for help. And through that process, met an Ayurvedic doctor in Prague, super randomly, complete crazy story. And this Ayurvedic doctor sort of, brought me back to life with, the Western doctors put me back together. Thank God for them. I mean, the shoulder and, surgery and put the bone back and everything. But, really, it really stopped there. I remember the food in the hospital was like a hot dog and some like processed cheese and like a sugary drink. And, just started doing the research into that, because it's all that research is pretty much there at your fingertips. And, started doing some simple research into, the type of food and the amount of food that you need in that type of recovery. And then, meeting that Ayurvedic doctor. And at that point, I had no idea what Ayurveda was, although I was very into health and supplements and things like that. But I just never really sort of thought about, using Ayurvedic herbs in sort of an everyday fashion.
Right.
I saw it more of like being used as a time of need type of thing. And so that's how I got introduced to it. And so met this guy, put me on a whole list of foods and herbs and different types of medicated ghee and things like that. And I healed pretty quickly through that whole process. He brought me back to life, sort of saved my life.
That's beautiful.
I remember about 2.5 months after the injury, I was already having the pins taken out of my shoulder, and felt really good. And just all of my faculties seemed like they were elevated. And the only real sort of variable that I had changed was introducing things like, there was a big bag of ashwagandha, a specific tea, and a bunch of other things that I had been taking. And I really, boiled it down to, wow, all these herbs and this diet that I'm on is really, I have better memory, focus, recall, stamina, endurance. When I got back on the bike and got back in the pool, all of these things were elevated. I wasn't tired in the middle of the day, which it started happening at the age of, I was what, 30, 32, 33. So yeah, I just kind of went back to this Ayurvedic doctor and said, hey, you know, can I take this stuff every day? And his response was, yeah, sure. But where are you going to buy this stuff?
Oh yeah.
And I said, well, hey, I'll just go online and I'll find it on one of these websites. And he was like, yeah, that's the big problem. You don't know where it's coming from. And I am from Kerala, India, and I work directly in this world. And I got to tell you, some of the stuff that they're putting into even what people would call high quality herbal supplements is not what it should be. So there's a, you know, that just really sort of like the bells went off, and I was like, all right, okay, well, there's nothing more important than health, and I need this stuff. So it looks like the only way I'm going to be able to get the pure ingredients is to go to India. So just, you know, started that down that path, and started working with Dr. George Essay in Prague. He's since passed, but this was in 2009 and 10, and we spent a lot of time together working and learning, and I started going back and forth to India, and I mean, still to this day. So, you know, now here we are in 2020, but you know, it's still sort of the same thing, is just really trying to find, it's really for me all about, you know, preventative health, and then also, you know, helping people that have issues like what I had to deal with, but sourcing and making sure that we're getting our supply chains locked down with the purest ingredients possible. Because I mean, if you're putting this stuff into your body, these are very powerful herbs. You have to, you know, first of all, make sure that they are the powerful version of the herb that you want, but also that they're not loaded with, you know, fillers or pesticides or heavy metals. And I can tell you from my experience, it's and doing a lot of research. I mean, I'm writing a book right now on it. You know, we do all the testing, and we're very, very deep into this world. It's pretty scary what's out there.
Oh, I bet. Well, that's awesome. The book, definitely want keeping the loop on the book for the readers.
Yeah,
when's
sure.
that coming out?
Yeah, we're still, you know, we're working. There's no real, probably the end of this year.
Okay.
We're kind of taking it slowly and making sure we get it right. Just every chapter, we're uncovering new things in the research, which we're just like kind of like, wow,
that's really
this
cool.
is crazy. So yeah, we're just sort of like taking it slow, and we got some other great people doing some research into it, and yeah, so it's probably toward the end of this year.
Cool. I'll look forward to that and let everybody know when it comes out for sure. Wow, what an amazing creation story. Is that Dr. V you're mentioning that helped?
Yeah. I was introduced to Dr. Bernie Gopal via Dr. George Essay in India about 8 years ago. So he is what's called, you know, a traditional Ayurvedic practitioner. You know, there's sort of two types of Ayurvedic treatment centers in India. There's the Ayurvedic spa, which is where people go to, you know, do panchakarma. It's almost like going to a spa here. And then there's the Ayurvedic hospitals.
Oh, wow.
So the Ayurvedic hospitals have a deal. They have a deal with the medical system in India, because they're able to treat like cancer patients, or, you know, somebody with a very serious illness. Well, you know, people that come over that are, you know, in a very bad place where they could potentially, you know, have a serious, very, very serious issue. And so they, in order to get that license, it's much more difficult, but you have to be linked with a traditional Western hospital, just in case sort of something does go, you know, terribly wrong while they're there going through the treatments. So that's where Dr. V is focused. You know, I've been over there, and, you know, I spend a lot of time at the house. That's where I live when I go to India, and spend a couple weeks there a couple times a year. So yeah, I see people with all sorts of different ailments. I've seen some absolute miracles happen. And yeah, and Dr. V also, you know, he works with, you know, he's the guy who, you know, we source all of our herbs with. So, you know, they're pretty deep, you know, going into these very rural locations throughout India, which, you know, it's all in danger of going away. And, you know, that's one of the main reasons why I'm so, you know, I kind of just got thrown into this. You know, it's just one of those things where life sort of happens to you, and then next thing you know, you're in the middle of something, and it's all snowballing, and you really have no choice. I mean, you do, but if you're smart, you sort of, identify it and go, all right, this is what I'm doing right now. This is what I do.
Yeah.
And I mean, just seeing like all these rural, like these areas that have been, existed for thousands of years. I mean, Ayurveda is the first download, however you want to call it, of modern medicine, on this planet. It's the oldest form of medicine, and these books are, they were like channeled, or however you want to say that, thousands of years ago. And so I'm deep in that world, and a lot of these places where the herbs grow naturally, I mean, that's the place where you want to find them. It's sort of like the terroir. It's very similar to wine. Like Pinot grows best in Burgundy in a certain soil with certain weather, a certain aspect, et cetera, et cetera. And it's the same thing with herbs. It's pretty logical.
Yes,
and a lot of these places aren't. Yeah, they're in danger of dying out because of the big companies that are coming in and, ashwagandha and turmeric are the cool new thing now, so we're going to plant 1,000 acres of it and sell it as organic. And meanwhile, like the soil is depleted after 2 or 3 cycles, and you're basically getting an orange powder. But hey, it's organic, and it's from a huge company, and it's got a really sexy marketing behind it, which is pretty much everything that you're seeing in the market right now. And I'll go out on the record and say that.
No, I agree with you. As a health professional, I see like always these influxes of like, oh, turmeric, okay, that's good for joints, and everybody doubles down on that. Then it's something else next. It's coconut oil and blah blah blah. People have to make some money.
Yeah, it's really bad. Even a lot of companies now, using the same lingo, it's all about purity, it's all about this. And then you dive in and you find that they're just, buying products off Amazon and mixing them together and putting some marketing behind it and selling it.
That's horrible.
That just really defeats the whole purpose of what we're trying to do here. This isn't a fad, this isn't some, lab grown whatever powder that's mixed into your coffee. And, we sell it with this great marketing for, 30 cents a pack. That's all just absolute BS. And it really, it's really a shame, because a lot of people are out there, trying to get healthy, and then they're ending up, buying these products that have like zero efficacy. And, meanwhile, there might be a placebo effect, or it might have caffeine in it or something like that. So they're all sold on it. But yeah, I can tell you that it's from our research and knowledge, which is pretty vast in this world, it's the whole system needs some work. Let's put it that way.
Wow. Yeah, well, I agree with you, and I'm glad that you're a big advocate for this. You're doing your homework, and I'm looking forward to find out what you find out with your research about this. And I honestly did not know that Ayurveda was the original, or the first medicine. That's very fascinating.
Yeah. I just actually ordered another. I order all these texts, these old books, and it's just really interesting how, there was like, it's just like, like yoga, for example, like all these poses, these are the stories. These are the how these stories are passed down through the ages. Is just, there was this, yogi sort of meditating, whatever you want to call them back then, meditating in a cave, and, was given the download of all the yoga poses. And then there was the download of, of Ayurvedic medicine. And I have a lot of these books are, obviously in old languages that are hard to translate, but I have a couple of these texts, and it's really, really interesting. Yeah. How they were just given all of this information. I mean, if you think about it logically, like, this stuff has been going on for thousands of years. They've been mixing turmeric with black pepper for thousands of years. And now modern science is showing that black pepper increases the bioavailability of turmeric by 2,000%. So I don't know where they got it from, but they got it. And yeah, I mean, so it's just, and these are the things, like, these are little things, like, I could go on and on for hours about this, that are just like mind-boggling, like absolutely, it's without a doubt. So, it exists, and it's been, it's really overwhelming to think about, like, how it came to be, who was given this information, and and we're just really at the tip of the iceberg of this. There's a lot of stuff out there that's not being shared, for whatever reason, whether it's the timing of it or this and that. But yeah, it's some pretty epic stuff from these ancient texts, it's all there. It's just a question of, finding the time to sift through the chaos and the noise of what we're being inundated with on a daily basis. And
Yeah.
really, it's just as simple as reading a book. It's all out there. It's just, we're all on social media and reading the news, and it's
So
simple as
true.
really kind of digging in, and a lot of it's out there.
Yeah, everybody's looking for that quick fix and some dopamine and everything, but thank goodness for people like you actually digging deep in this stuff. And I was making in my head a little correlation, different culture, but I have friends who've traveled down to South America to partake in the Vine of Life, and like how amazing they took these two things. One's like opens up the receptors for the DMT to work, and it's just amazing like how they come up with these medicinal, magical concoctions that have been around for a long, long time. And we're just now kind of rediscovering it and bringing it to people's attention. So it's exciting stuff. I'm fascinated by it too.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. I've experimented with the vinyl life, as well, as you call it, and
Nice.
I mean, it's just, you're just like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
This is insane, and then you see those pictures of like these indigenous, like I remember the first time that I did it, it's like it was definitely like one of the most electric sort of. Can you imagine like 2,000 years ago when you're living in a hut and you do that, and all of a sudden you're in this like techno color sort of wormhole or whatever you want to call it. And then, like I was kind of flashing to like these, like, those ancient tribal dudes that wear like, like penis sheaths and are like, dialed up with all this like makeup, and they look like, intergalactic warriors. I'm like, I get it.
Yeah,
like,
you did that.
I'm right there with you, brother.
Oh, that's so cool. I know my friends who have done it repeatedly and have gotten so much out of it for a lot of reasons too, for spiritual, for working through mental illnesses as well. It's amazing stuff.
Oh, yeah.
That's barely scraping the surface of right now. And I'm so happy people like you are doing this hard work, the deep work to get the messages out there. It's really important stuff.
Yeah. Well, thanks, man. I mean, I appreciate that. It's just really something I love doing, and it's really cool that it's turned into this. I can tell you that.
It's super cool to see. And before we're recording, I was mentioning that I do a lot of splitboarding as well, and work with a community of backcountry skiers and splitboarders and snowboarders. And every time I mention HANAH or pull out one of the yellow little travel pouches out of my pocket before I go on a tour, people always chime in with like, "Oh yeah, I've tried that. I really like the turmeric, or I really like the one. I mix it in with peanut butter, or whatever their secret hack is." So it's cool. Like it's got a really almost cult following that I didn't know about until about a year and a half ago. So and also I kind of wanted to get onto this too. How did you find so many amazing ski, snowboard, and surf athletes to get behind your product?
Well, man, I tell you, it's really been a magic. It's been, it's one of those things that it's like I said, it's like, if you build it, they will come.
Mm-hmm.
It's just been, life has been I've always just been, I really do feel this isn't, about me. I think just in general, like the universe speaks to all of us. And if you listen, like, look, I could have, that fork in the road, like, having that injury, I could have just sort of like fallen into despair. And it was end of October. I wasn't dating anybody. It's Prague. It's cold. It's nasty. You're going into winter. Last thing you need is this. Like I couldn't even put my socks on. I could have really easily just gone down a different path there. But I just really looked at it as like, all right, why did this happen? What is this trying to tell me? And so, again, not to be too personal, but I think everything that happens is an opportunity, whether it's good or bad.
Totally agree.
And,
yeah, for sure.
And is just like fighting through that, and not even fighting. It's more of just like being fluid, being water. It's okay. All right, there's a boulder in the river. Let's move around it and let's see what happens. And just it's been an interesting ride. I met a guy, Willie McMillon from Jackson Hole. I met him in early 2000s in Prague. He's Jackson Hole snowboarder. And, we were kind of like the only foreigner, snowboard crew and Jackson Hole guys that were sort of, let's say, call it like English speaking. Met with him. And then a couple of years later, he brought Travis Rice before, kind of really before he was, I mean, I had never heard of him, I especially being in Eastern Europe, I never had a TV out there. I wasn't really into that world. I was just doing my own thing, and met Travis. We really hit it off. And this was a long time ago. We just sort of stayed in contact randomly. And I mean, Willie is a legend. He's just one of the greatest dudes ever. Awesome. Just great person and real salt of the earth, cool dude. And we just always connected. And, you know, he'd come out to Europe and, you know, just randomly, you know, I was always the guy that, you know, when we'd go snowboarding or something, you know, would have water or tea or sandwiches or just, you know, little things like that. So I was kind of my role in the ecosystem, and, you know, was just sort of, I was always mindful of things like that. And, you know, always looking at ways to, like, you know, hey, it's 1 o'clock. Yeah, we're tired. I'd like to, you know, keep going. And, you know, so just kind of, you know, always, you know, mindful of things like that. And sort of my role within that world just kind of always was that. And yeah, just, you know, got this, once we, you know, I started working on this stuff, and I had really no idea that it was going to turn into this or anything. I was really just making it for myself and my friends. And,
oh yeah.
This was about six years ago when I started creating the first products. And, you know, I was the first, like the HANAH 1 is, you know, that paste, you know, which, you know, we don't put any preservatives or anything in it. So, you know, sometimes it's like really thick and granular. Sometimes it's really fluid.
That's true.
And yeah, I remember getting that. I remember getting it, and I got it, and I was taking it. My business partner, J.R. Smith, co-founder with HANAH, you know, one of my closest friends, we cycle a lot together, and I was like, hey, let's try taking this like out on the bike. And, you know, being that it has honey, ghee, and sesame oil and raw sugarcane and all these herbs, and let's see if we can like use it as almost like a substitute for a goo gel. You know, it's something that'll just like kind of like, you could take it on the bike and you can keep going, but it's going to have positive side effects. So we started doing that, and like the results were huge. And JR's a huge cynic with all of this stuff. So we just started, you know, and then just started giving it to people. And it's just been one of those things where athletes are very in tune with their bodies. And
yes.
It's pretty shocking, you know, like I spent a lot of time with Jimmy and Travis, a lot of the other athletes, and just to see how mindful they are. And, you know, they would, I think, you know, even Jimmy laughs. He's, you know, like, he's like, man, I'm horrible compared to, you know, a lot of the other athletes. He's really not. I mean, the guy's up at 5 a.m, rolling out, stretching, meditating, you know, making, you know, HANAH coffees and smoothies, and, you know, getting prepared. And, you know, he's very, very mindful. And so you just see what it takes to be and to operate at a high level. But also their bodies are very much in tune with everything they put in it, because they're out there exerting. You know, Jimmy will run up the Grand Teton. You know, most people it takes him like 2 days. He'll do that before noon. So, you know, these guys are pretty fine-tuned machines, and, you know, what they put into their body really resonates with them. And so it just sort of caught on like wildfire inside of this community. I remember Jimmy tried it, and like we were on the Summit boat, this like conference thing, and he was just really amped on it. And, you know, Travis is very mindful. He's very into like yoga, meditation, and what he eats, and, you know, eats very healthy. And yeah, they just started, all right, let's, you know, this is the future, and we want to sort of spread this word around to people, and, you know, make sure that people know that, hey, you know, there are, you know, ways in which, you know, you can be a badass, and you can also be a very mindful person, and you can eat healthy, and you can, you know, do good things and put good things into your body, and, you know, spread good messages out there. So that's kind of sort of the mission that a lot of us got behind. And yeah, so that's kind
so
of how
cool.
That whole thing happened.
And just to clarify for listeners, that's Jimmy Chin you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
How cool. You're like, it's Jimmy, it's Travis Rice, and Jeremy Jones, and Jimmy Chin, and Angel Collinson, and Walsh. These are big names. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And you're right. The athletes I have met, and I have met Jonny, Angel's brother. I met Travis. I met Jeremy. Yeah, they're very aware of what they put in their body, because they are performing at extremely high levels, and they take it very seriously.
Yeah, John Collinson is just that guy's a beast, man.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Guys out there doing 1-finger pull-ups.
Yeah. I have a fitness background, and so I picked his brain over a Stella Artois at a lunch for North Face. I'm like, what's your fitness routine like? And it blew my mind. I was like, yeah, that's why you're on the big screen.
But all of those guys, I mean, they're all one thing, and the gals as well. I mean, like Michelle, absolute beast. Annie
Michelle
Boulanger. Yeah, Michelle, Annie, the list goes on. They're all, and Angel is, you know, they're all just
That's
You
amazing.
see, it's great. It's fun. You see what happens when you put in that work, and it's not easy. It might look easy. Social media glamorizes it, and
Oh, it
everybody's
sure does.
posting images, and but a lot of people do that because their sponsors require it. But I tell you what, like it's not all fun and games, man. But there's some of those mornings you wake up 5 a.m. Yeah, like this morning I was up at like 5:30, and just ripping and roaring out of bed. Great day, it's going to be
Mm-hmm.
awesome. Some days you're just like, what the hell am I doing?
So
And I know
true.
everybody goes through it. I was just having a
Mm-hmm.
long conversation with Jason Walsh, the trainer, because like the
Oh yeah.
December, January, I don't know. I don't know if we all go through lulls, that you can only peak really at one time in the year. But yeah, like I really don't like the holidays. I gotta say, I just don't like the whole like putting the brakes on type of thing,
Oh, me too. As an
kind
entrepreneur,
of
I don't
wake
like
up.
taking time off. I'm like, I just want to work and
No,
go after it. Breaks, I
yeah,
don't need
I
breaks.
think yeah, I think now we're finally towards the end of January. It's like the sort of the collective energy is all right. Let's get on with it. Let's
Oh, yeah,
do
for
this.
sure. Yeah, we're
But
getting
yeah,
ready for Outdoor Retailer next week, and we got our meetings with like Patagonia and Mountain Hardware, and we have 9 riders going and 3 camera crews, and we're all like, yes, let's get back to it. Let's go create. Let's go test some stuff and go play in the mountains and have fun. So yeah, I think we're all in the same thing like
exactly.
you mentioned. Yeah, it's a collective thought process for sure.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm going through your list of people. Orange Man, I can't believe it. Like these are all people like me watch on, in the movies doing crazy, awesome stuff. And also, I want to bring to attention
Yeah.
on your YouTube channel, you have a really, really cool storytelling kind of theme where you're going through the rituals of a lot of these athletes and their favorite recipes and stuff like that. It's really cool stuff. Like,
Hmm.
I really enjoy
Well,
it. Like,
thank you.
yeah, of course. Well, I mean, what is your
Yeah,
favorite
my
recipe?
um well just on the sorry, I just
I got you. Rad time,
the
huh?
water went down the wrong hole.
I
Um
totally get that.
so yeah, I mean the rituals series, that was Jimmy and I spent the winter together. I think it was three years ago.
Hmm.
And just trying to, Jimmy is a multifaceted genius in many ways.
Yes.
But he's been deep in the world of like marketing and for a long time, as
Yeah.
he works closely with a lot of big companies. And
Hmm.
yeah, we just try to figure out a way to tell the story of this is an insight into the daily routine. So I think if those rituals videos are, I think they're really special. We spent a lot of time coming up with that. So it's one of Jimmy's favorite words is verite, which is
Verite.
the way it's
Yes.
shot, which is sort of like a fly on the wall.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think we were sitting there going, how can we differentiate all these videos? You see every company's doing these 2 to 5 minute videos,
Hmm.
and they're just the same thing. It's like a music video. They're great, well produced, some cool stuff, some bad stuff, but what's going to catch people? And so I remember we drove from Salt Lake City to Jackson Hole, and we figured it out. And that was this: we're going to shoot no music. If you watch them, most of them have like zero music.
Yeah. It's just background in like
um
their
yeah, it's
homes.
sort of like just like you're there, you're watching
Yeah.
them, you're sort of in the mix, and you're like this fly on the wall, sort of in a day in the morning in the life, or a day in the life. And yeah, I think those really turned out well. And again, it's just sort of that thing. It's these are marketing videos. I'll be completely transparent with
Yeah.
that.
They're
But
not.
the whole thing is like, what? No, I mean, everything is now, and that's what you got to be like very vigilant of, all of that stuff.
Hmm.
But the whole point of that is to instill a sense of is to pass something on. It's not to sell a product.
That's a
It's
good take.
it's more dedicated toward this is, if you want to see what Jimmy does every morning, here you go. That's
Right.
it. That's all we're trying to do is and I do believe that having those sort of intentions, good things happen. It's just one of those things. It's all energy. You put the good energy out there, you pass it along, and
Yes.
and then the everything else really falls into place.
I 100% agree with that. And to the listeners and readers out there, you'll know right within the first 10 seconds what Joel's talking about. They're not marketing. They're not flashy. They're not a lot of lights going on and background music. You're literally I think the best word is calm and present. You're there watching them make a peanut butter and HANAH 1 sandwich with some bananas, or, watching Forrest, go about feeding his friends before they go snowboarding. It's really cool. It's very calm. It's a nice change of
Well, thank
pace.
you.
Yeah. It's cool
Appreciate
stuff.
it. Spent a lot of time on that.
Yeah, it shows. I mean, and Jimmy's an amazing, cinematographer and filmer and photographer. It's cool stuff.
Yeah, he's pretty good. I think he's won a couple of awards.
Maybe a few. Yeah, Maru, I've heard of Maru.
He's got a future in it.
Yeah, I think so. He's got a bright future. So cool. Well, speaking of mornings and rituals, what's your morning ritual?
Okay, I mean, this is, I could actually post you a list of all the supplements that I'm using.
I'd be intrigued
go through a couple of different cycles, but the most important thing, and I mean, this is a game changer for me. I almost can't live without it. I travel with it. I do a coffee, and then in that coffee, I put ghee, MCT oil, HANAH 1, and the coffee boost. Our coffee boost, which is ashwagandha, bacopa, mucuna, and coconut milk powder. Put that in a blender. It's super simple. Just make the coffee, throw it in a blender. I put some cardamom powder on there for a little bit of taste. Mix it up. Make a huge thing of that. It's like the nectar of the gods. I mean, you don't get that like jittery, jacked up sort of caffeine feel. I love caffeine. I just don't like the way that it kind of like, if you go over the tips on caffeine, it's like you're like, geez.
Yeah, adrenals are shot.
Straight jacket. Yeah, I don't like that. So this sort of like mellows. It's like a mellow intro. It's great for everything. You see your skin, your eyes, also your digestive system, your GI, bowel movements. Everything runs like according to plan. I do that, and then I do these. When I'm training a lot, I add other things in. I'll do these like liquid minerals. And then I'm doing a stack right now. This Paul Stamets, the mushroom guy. I do lion's mane. Oh yeah. Niacin, and then
like a slow niacin.
What else is there? Vitamin D. Yeah, niacin, lion's mane, and vitamin D. And I do that with a couple of other things that I'm toying around with at the moment. Lots of water. Green juice, maybe a smoothie. Depending on, how hungry I am and what I'm doing, later in the afternoon or when I'm training or what I'm doing. But yeah, I try to really keep it like liquid. I do a lot of bone broth. Yes. We're doing a miso paste, like we're like working on a new miso paste with this Japanese company. It's like a 600-year-old company doing real live miso. So oh my goodness, keep it liquid. Yeah, I keep it like super liquid. And then, lunchtime, like I do a lot of carrots and hummus, just keep it light. Again, if I work out, I'll have like a plant-based protein shake after, or, smoothie. And then dinner, when you're training a lot, you can really eat whatever you want, but really try to keep it. Like I do a lot of pasta, Italian pasta, olive oil. I love that. And then a lot of like fish and steak and vegetables and salads and stuff like that. Just try to keep it simple. And I like your routine. Yeah, the morning ritual, that coffee is just like, if of anything, like that's the go-to. And a lot of the other guys, that's one of Jimmy's favorites. Makes sense. He usually adds in a little almond milk and cacao and honey, and just kind of keep it simple. And yeah.
Well, that's very helpful, and I can second to the coffee boost. My morning starts at 4:30, and I do a pour over coffee. I get some direct trade.
Yeah,
good stuff. And then I do the C8 MCT oil, a couple pumps of that. I've been doing your coffee boost the last week and a half, and I definitely dig it. And then some collagen, and that's my breakfast.
Yeah,
I love it.
Nice. Yeah, man, it's good. It keeps you going, and like I think all those healthy fats. Really good, especially if you're going out for a big day in the mountains. You guys are splitboarding a lot, like we do the same thing. And yeah, it's crazy noticeable. Like if you do that and then you don't, like you really notice like there's that point in the day where you're like, all right, I'm hungry now.
Yep.
And if you can push that off a little bit further.
I'm totally with you. Yeah, I take a break sometimes, like every few days or every few weeks, I should say, just to see what's working and what's not working. and you
Oh
definitely
yeah,
know it's working.
that's always fun. Yeah.
Oh, this is super helpful, Joel. I really enjoyed learning more about you and why you started the company. And I can resonate on a lot of personal levels of why I got into fitness and outdoor recreation for similar reasons to you. So for next time, we could talk about that. I just really
Yeah.
respect what you're doing, and big fan of HANAH, big fan of everything you're doing. The readers are going to be really excited about your book too. So please keep us in mind when it comes out so we can help spread the word and the love and the messages you have. Is there any
Well,
thing you want to mention or mantra?
yeah, no, not really. I mean, I think we really covered it. Just thanks. It's great. It's great. And really, humbling and awesome to hear that people enjoy it. Like that is
They love
the
it.
most important thing,
Yeah.
that it's like what we're doing is resonating with people, and, it's not for everybody, that's for sure. But those that are using it, it's been a really, really cool tribe. It's been a really awesome sort of thing to, boomerang out into the universe, and to have people like you call me up and to get to talk about this. It's really, really awesome. And just want to say thank you for everything, and really appreciate everybody that's in the game. And yeah, just reach out to us on social and share your stories with us. And on our Instagram, I think it's HANAH Living on Instagram. And yeah, that's, just we spread the word by word of mouth. And, we're not a huge company, but we're growing pretty rapidly. And it's, in order to keep the ball rolling, it's all the support from everybody. And yeah, maybe next time if we talk, we can talk about some of the crazy stuff in Bhutan, and
I'd love to talk about
deeper
that.
in India. There's some really crazy stuff going on. We're working on some really cool new products and things like that. So
that's so cool, Joel. Yeah,
good
please
stuff to look forward to.
Yeah, I'll look forward to that conversation for sure. And I'll put in hanahlife.com as a website, the YouTube channel, which is definitely worth checking out, so you can see those routine videos and recipe videos from Angel and other awesome, amazing athletes. And and Joel, thanks again for your time, for doing what you do and fighting the good fight and bringing Ayurvedic stuff to light. It's really cool. Hats off to you, man.
Yeah, man. Thanks, Sean. Let's get out and do a little split.
I'd love that. I'm out 3 days a week, man. Count me in for that.
Let's do it.
Awesome, Joel. Well, thanks.
All right, man. Thank you so much.
Well, hopefully you guys all enjoyed that as much as I did. And as always, thank you for your time. Come and check out the Engearment.com podcast. And until next time, take care, and I love you for listening.